What up, guys? It's Radon Sports News. Today we're going to be talking about NASCAR. Basically it. We're going to be talking about the Daytona 500 qualifying that happened, as well as the clash at Daytona, formerly known as the Budweiser Shootout. Today we're first going to talk about Daytona 500 qualifying. Good qualifying session. Really, I was surprised because who ended up winning the pole was new 88 driver Alex Bowman. And a lot of people wrote him off where, a lot of people didn't think he was going to do a whole ton, not a ton of experience, so it was really a head scratcher for a lot of people, including me, on why they let Alex Bowman, of all drivers, get the 88 car when there was clearly more or better people that could have took over. But for right now, it worked out. He ended up getting the pole for the 500, ended up beating Denny Hamlin, who ended up qualifying second by 6/10. And in NASCAR, that's a wide margin for qualifying. So very good by Alex Bowman. Step in the right direction, and for that 88 car in general, that is the third time in a row at restrictor plate tracks that they have started on the front row. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, for the other people in qualifying, I'm just going to give you the quick rundown of the top 10. It was Denny Hamlin second, Jimmy Johnson third, Kyle Busch came in fourth, fifth, the new 25 driver William Byron. So that's cool. It's going to be interesting. He was really fast in practice all week, so look for him in the race. Now, we also got Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez, two back-to-back Joe Gibbs cars, as well as Kevin Harvick, Ricky Stenhouse, who had two restrictor plate wins last year, and the previous Daytona 500 pole sitter past 2 years, Chase Elliott, ended up qualifying 10th. So that will round out your top 10. Just not a whole ton to talk about. There was a lot of cool guys. Danica ended up qualifying 28th, so if you consider Danica a racer, if you want to know where she ended up, go ahead. And Paul Menard, that was a very interesting one. He took over the 21 car that was previously driven by Ryan Blaney last year, and really that was interesting. He had a lot of speed in practice and qualifying. Ended up qualifying 12th, so that was very interesting. Watch for him in the race. That's going to be very interesting. But we're going to move on to the clash at Daytona and what happened there, and really the Penske cars just dominated. They dominated. With Keselowski and Blaney and Logano, they dominated that whole entire race. Chase Elliott was up there for a good portion of the beginning of it. He was very good. Hamlin, of course, was up there at the beginning, but really they fizzled out at the end. And really it just boiled down to those top Penske cars, and they were unstoppable. And it seems like every single year at Daytona or any restrictor plate track, Penske is on the ball. And that's very interesting. I'm surprised nobody's been able to catch up, especially a team like Joe Gibbs, who has a lot of resources, a lot they can work with, and they're normally good, but it's just Penske is so far ahead of the pack. It's very interesting. Now, what was the key really complaint in this? And it did come down to that final wreck of what the complaint was really about. It was the brand new Camaro coming out for Chevy, and really how the nose is shaped. It is very hard to draft, or really bump draft, to get right on that bumper of the next car, because the nose of the Camaro comes to a point. And so it's extremely hard to actually line up and hit somebody, and Kyle Larson, driving a Chevy, ended up running into the back of Jimmy Johnson, who was another Chevy, and the problem is it does not line up to any of the bumpers, so he hit him. It didn't look that bad. I know Darrell Waltrip, he was trying to just build up the hype. Oh, he really slapped them there. It really didn't look that bad. I've seen much worse. they've been drafting like that almost all race, and Johnson's car just couldn't handle it because that point just completely sent Johnson's car loose. Ended up taking out the whole pack. Basically, it was only like 4 cars left that weren't in it because Johnson was at the beginning of the pack. So that's going to be an issue, especially at restrictor plate tracks going into this whole season and for however long this new Camaro is out. Now, another issue today that I saw with a lot of drivers is that the cars were very loose. And one addition to this year's restrictor plate cars is they have the track bar adjuster in the car. So a driver can make track bar adjustments within the car. Now, they've had that at other tracks, but this is the first time they've had it at restrictor plates, which is very cool, very good, great for the drivers because they were really loose today. Johnson, I saw, was extremely loose. Kyle Larson was all over the track, and it was a lot of complaints from a whole bunch of drivers out there. So I'm glad they ended up adding that. And another key experiment today was really the pit stops. They ended up eliminating a guy. So they're a guy short in the pit lanes for pit stops, and the gas man can't actually help out anywhere. He can only put gas in the car. That's all he can do now. And so we saw stops going from last year, it was 11 seconds, 12 seconds where it was consistency. Now this year it seemed like, at least for this race right now, 16 seconds. So that added a ton of time, and very interesting that's where we're going. And now you're making more time onto a sport and a race that seems to take forever. You're adding more time onto it. Now, really, does it really add up? I don't know. But I definitely thought they were going to go maybe add another guy instead of taking out a guy. Make it a slower process. So that was very interesting. Chase Elliott ended up having a great car. Brad Keselowski had a great car. Those were probably the top 2 cars in the clash for me. I felt that they were the top 2, but let me know down in the comments who you thought were the top 2, and let me know down in the comments who you think is going to end up winning the Daytona 500. I'm very interested. I'm going to have a video before the 500 just talk about who I think is going to win and a bunch of stuff like that. But always remember, if you like the video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and always remember, right on, brother. We'll see you.